Hello, my fellow intellectuals.
And welcome to Season 2, Episode 3. Yes, we're back.
Welcome back, guys.
It's a big one.
It's the biggest episode yet, because we have a very special guest.
Yes. Mr. Lewis.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yes.
Thanks for having me on.
So we secured a special guest for this one, Mr. Lewis. He used to teach one of us.
He taught me in chemistry, and we're really excited he lives in Chicago, so this is very special.
Yep.
And let's not forget, I also coached Nick throws as well.
Yeah, he was our throwing coach. I remember that.
And I tried for one day.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to jump right into announcements. So right now at BK, there's the homecoming stuff. We don't really have a lot of announcements.
So we have homecoming, so if you guys want to, just make sure you submit your nominations for who you want for homecoming, king and queen.
Yeah, if you want to do me or Nick, just for, Scott and Nick Live Clout, or you can do Angelo Yap, because he's a beautiful human being.
Yeah, so. I nominated Angelo.
Yeah, he's a cutie, so I highly recommend it. So let's jump right into the questions, Mr. Lewis. So we're going to start with some questions, and then we'll kind of talk about it for a minute.
Yep. Or do you want to introduce yourself a little bit for the people who don't know you?
Yeah, definitely. My name is Mr.Lewis. My first name is Raymond, so my name is technically not Raymond Lewis. I'm a teacher, so it's my third year teaching. My first year of teaching included Scott. As a matter of fact, my first day of teaching involved making fun of Scott for thinking my hall pass was $300.
I actually thought it was $300. He's like, it's so expensive.
And, actually, the best part of that story was, as a young and inexperienced teacher, I felt bad. So I actually Schoology messaged Scott an apology, saying that and I'm sure many of the listeners can attest to, as I got to know Scott, I realized I really shouldn't have apologized.
Yeah,
he didn't deserve the apology.
He was perfectly qualified.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Mr. Duclos at the same time, and he did not send me any messages when he roasted me.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the listeners of the podcast know that I was at Kenny for 2 years, starting in 2017 up until May. Taught bio and chem there, and coached cross country and track.
Yep.
I'm back in Chicago now. I'm teaching and coaching at a school called St. Ignatius in Chicago, which is actually where I went. So I'm doing the whole return home,
full circle.
Welcome home Connor thing, sort of 70s reference there. But it's been a blast. I just started at Kenny and Scott and Nick. Hopefully our little chat can bring everyone a little closer to home. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we got for today.
Yeah, I know it's already bringing tears to my eyes, so I think I got a good start.
Yeah. I know a lot of us miss you at BK, so it'd be a good one to bring you guys kind of back to Jacksonville for a little bit.
Yeah, I will say this. So here's sort of an exclusive announcement. I'm planning on returning to Jacksonville at the beginning of January. There's essentially a 5K race for a cause pretty important. A friend of mine who passed away from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma a little over a year ago, her parents have begun a scholarship that sends a student to high school from the school that this girl used to teach at, my friend.
Yeah.
It's going to be called, I'm not actually sure what it's going to be called, but it's going to be hosted by Bishop Snyder. It's on January 11th. It's a 5K race. So this is just sort of my shameless plug for anyone who would be free on that Saturday. It'll definitely be for a good cause. I can probably on Instagram or something send out a link with more info for that. But I'll be in town for that with my plant. So if nothing else, maybe you can just ping me for a few minutes or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
We'll link you up on the Instagram and however else we can.
Yeah, we would support that. That sounds like a really good cause.
So yeah, Mr. Lewis, are you ready for the first questions?
All right, I have never been more ready.
Okay. When are you going to propose? From Anonymous. Right out of the gates.
Right out of the gate. Yeah, we're swinging hard. Well, it seems like this anonymous person is someone who knows my life pretty well. One thing I'll say is if this is information that I divulge publicly, then think words might get around to the parties who I would need to keep it a secret from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's on my mind and on my heart. So, you know, I guess, I don't know, stay tuned. It's definitely something that I'm, you know, been thinking about and praying about. So that's
awesome.
basically all I can say right now. But
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want to give away anything. Yeah, definitely.
We thought it was going to be a little risky. The person told us they were going to write that in. I'm like, oh,
I know.
okay.
We were like a little nervous about asking it, but like, that was a great answer.
Maybe our first proposal on Scott and Nick.
Okay, so then the next question is, what's in store for your future?
Yeah. Well, this move up to Chicago was a pretty big move. A return home, but it was also kind of taking a new step forward in my adult life. I just graduated with a master's. That was why I was in Jacksonville, because I was teaching and studying to get my master's. So I think I'll be teaching and coaching for the long term. I really love this job. The kids at Kenny were great. The kids at Ignatius are also great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as long as I stay in Chicago, I'll probably be at the school. Immediate future, you know, hopefully our girls cross country team, that's who I'm with, will have a high state finish. That's kind of the short-term goal for the coaching and for the teaching.
Yeah.
I'm teaching an engineering class, so I'm really hoping to kind of build up this class is something that'll be a course that I teach for a long time and something that kids like to take, and hopefully kids will take this engineering class and start to consider engineering as a major and have a good idea of what's in store for that.
Is your major in
but
engineering?
Long term, obviously, would love to start a family when the time is right. Being a father has kind of always been my main dream and goal above any sort of occupation.
Yeah.
A lot of my students have heard me say that before, so that's not necessarily new information, but will I stay in Chicago my whole life? I don't know. I don't think so. I really do love the South, so I wouldn't be surprised if I return sometime, but that's kind of another one of those stay tuned kind of things.
Yeah. I know you're missing the heat up there.
Well, today Chicago was hotter than Jacksonville. We had a 98 heat index today.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
There's no escaping it. Global warming's real.
Well, I think we had 50 degrees, so.
Yeah.
So, kind of going back and forth. But anyways.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay, so the third question is, Gio says hi.
So I'm going to guess this is Gio Rosa.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So, hi, Mac. Hope you're doing well. So you had a post on Instagram that indicated you were maybe less than thrilled to be returning to school, but I'm sure that you'll do great and have a good senior year, man.
Yeah, he was like asking, can I say hi to Mr. Lewis? And Nick was like,
you have to say a question. So I told him, if you phrase it as a question, so he writes in, Gio says hi, question mark.
Okay, well, that's basically the hopeful answer I can give. So, yeah, very good job pointing out as a question, guys. These are master hosts we have.
Yes, we practice all day.
Yes.
Okay, so any advice for relationships?
Well, is that one of the Instagram questions or just general?
That's one of the ones through the website, but yeah, we have a few Instagram ones, yeah.
Yeah, so you might want to keep it a little more short just so we can get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever happens.
Main piece is when you're in a relationship, being prepared to make a lot of decisions, not just a few number of decisions that have the other person in mind first. Especially if you're in high school, you've just gotten really used to making decisions that are based on you, like when you go to bed or what you eat or
your
the friends that you
yeah.
with. But if you want the relationship to work, you just got to be prepared to have another starting point if you want.
Yeah. So the fifth question is, do you miss BK?
Oh yeah, I really do. Some of the big things I miss obviously are the students, especially the current junior and senior class. I kind of felt like I grew up with you guys a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll be really crazy seeing the current senior class graduate. I can't even imagine what it'll be like for you seniors graduating. But the fact that you're seniors, you guys wear senior ties now? That's crazy.
I know. I feel like the senior tie is just like it I don't know, like increases you.
It kind of threw me off, like for the first week, like you'd see your friends and you're like, oh, why are they wearing a senior tie? It like took a second to register.
Yeah. So definitely miss it. It's a really special place. So anyone that is there and kind of feels like they're in a prison or whatever, just remember you're in a special place and you'll miss it someday too.
Yeah. You're locked in for now, but once you leave, you may want to go back. And so we're gonna switch to the Instagram now. So I think these will probably be a little more quick pace and more just topics to talk about.
Yeah. So for the people who are listening, we posted earlier this week, and for announcing the topics. If you want to know the topic beforehand, just check the Instagram.
Yeah. And SNL_podcast.
And feel free to comment on those, and we'll discuss your answers live on the podcast. So this week's topic is growing up. So we have a few different answers from people, what they're excited for, what they're nervous about, and just general stuff about growing up.
Yeah, and hopefully, Mr. Lewis will be able to bring some insight into the situation since he obviously is older.
Yeah. Okay, so Scott, what's the first one?
Taxes are scary. What do you think, Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, well, something that's really crazy that I had to learn the hard way is like when you get a salary, you interview for a job. They say, okay, the starting salary is $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you're going to make $40,000. Actually, you're going to make way less than $40,000.
Yeah, isn't it like?
So there's the expenditures that you have like every week or every month that are never going to change, like your rent and your groceries and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But even before that, property tax, the renters, your utilities. And then, honestly, income tax is the very first one out of all of those, instantly brings that number down. So especially when you come out of college for the first time, you kind of have to prepare those figures that you think you'll see in an entry-level job actually being a lot lower.
Yeah.
But I think that high school, right now, this is a really good time for you guys to practice some of the habits that are going to help prepare you for that. If you work a job, even if you're not making that much money, like if you're making $10 an hour and you're only working weekends or something like that, just get in the practice of like not spending all of that. Like It doesn't really matter how much you choose to save each week, but just pick a number, and then no matter what, make sure you stick with saving that number. Because if you get good at set a budget and then meeting that budget instead of like kind of fudging it, then that's a really good habit to have, and you should be able to deal with the, maybe the stress or the impact of your financial obligations later on in life. So it's something I feel among my friends who are 22, 23, 24 years old. They get a paycheck. It's exciting. They want to go out and sort of enjoy it, and it runs out a lot faster than you think. So honestly, high school and college are good times to start practicing some of those good budgeting habits.
Yeah, taxes are always like kind of a weird thing for me because like I was reading about it, and it's like all the other governments tell you what you owe them, and then like U.S. it's like, now you tell us what you think you owe us, and if you get it wrong, you go to prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. This is sort of I'll say like one hot take. You'll see a lot of kids, like you'll see like memes on Facebook or things like that. Like, when will I ever use Pythagorean theorem? Why can't I learn to do taxes in school?
Yeah.
And I definitely think that once tax day comes around, so tax day is April 15th,
Mm-hmm.
which means you really should be filing your taxes late March, kind of getting it done around that time.
Yeah.
That's something that you've got to experience in the moment to really get a good sense. And I think it's a good thing to maybe have to sit down and for a few consecutive nights and kind of work through it. So that's probably just how a lot of you are going to have to explore that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then Sarah Edgar wrote in independence is what she's excited for and growing up.
I think we're gonna have to talk to Sarah because I'm confused. Is that independence from U.S. or is that independence from, I don't know.
Britain.
Well, hopefully not independence from U.S., although maybe, I don't know, maybe some people want to grow up and go to a different country or something like that. But,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
that'd be cool.
I kind of want to ask you guys about that because you guys are probably just a year away from potentially going to college. Maybe you're
Yeah.
you might go out of town. So let's just like assume both of you go to out-of-town colleges.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about that idea of you only have 9 or 10 more months sleeping in the bed that you sleep in and being in the same house with your parents?
It's pretty scary. Like, I mean, it's not like that scary because I'm like, at this point, I'm like, been thinking about it for so long, I'm kind of prepared.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'll be okay, like, once I get situated because I'm like, I feel like I can adapt to a new situation pretty
Like,
easily.
It might be a little bit strange at first, just kind of like living for yourself and not having your parents like kind of like over your head all the time. But I feel like it would be pretty exciting, just like a different lifestyle.
Yeah, you definitely have to appreciate your parents more because, like, even though it feels like a lot of people complain, like, my parents are like, take over my life, but they also, like, you know, take care of more things than you think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to a lot of those feelings. And kind of similar to the financial thing, I think your senior year is a really awesome year to appreciate all of the things that you might take for granted that your family provides for you.
Yeah.
One way that you could maybe kind of start to mentally prepare yourself for that idea of being independent from your home base is pretend like your parents aren't in the house and then act in a sustainable way that like you would still be able to live. Now, what I mean by that is like not that like throw a party or like have a lot of people over, but like get good at like making yourself a meal or get good at getting your laundry done.
I have lots of pizza bites.
Yeah, you might realize that you actually need to do your sheets in the laundry. You can't just never change the sheets in your bed.
Can I just flip it over?
And so you have to like diversify what you make. I think all the way until my senior year of college, I was making pasta or pizza. That was basically my chef menu.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays I've added like chicken pot pie, like that you can put in the oven to the list, but it's still not really that diverse.
Yeah.
So spend this time definitely being grateful for a lot of the things that you've maybe taken for granted beforehand. But one other thing that I want to say, kind of, it's sort of in the other, like going the other way on the whole independence, is I think a lot of kids, especially in high school, who are living with their parents, are just feeling really, they might feel again like kind of imprisoned by like being at home all the time. They might feel like they want to be independent already, and I think there's definitely something to be said about the fact that you are still in high school, and you are given things that you aren't going to be given for the rest of your life, and take the time to enjoy that and be present in it because the clock is running out on that. There is a sort of a study that was done. It's a very depressing study, actually.
Oh, God.
But essentially, on average, for like American, kids who graduate from high school, leave their parents to go to college.
Yeah.
The day they graduate from high school, they've already finished 95% of the days they will ever spend with their parents in their life.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is a big, that's kind of surprising.
So all of those moments that you're kind of trying to free yourself from your parents or spend time out of the house, it can be a very good thing. It's obviously a very good thing to spend time with your friends, but try to have maybe a little bit more of a long-term view and be grateful for what you do have and what you are doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's, as a little, last segment, what were your, sort of like from my class and like your other classes, what were some, give us 5, highlights?
From your moments at
funny
Bishop,
moments.
from when you were Bishop Kenny, from teaching or coaching.
One, obviously that sound one was pretty good. One that sticks with me, and this is actually just because a lot of the students that were in Scott's AMOD chemistry class in the year 17-18,
Yeah.
they were the very first full 55-minute period class that I taught, and they all sat down. I had the seating chart on the board, and I didn't even introduce myself. I said, "Hi, none of you know anything about me, but what do you get when you mix water with water?" and they're just kind of like, well, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, it was kind of awkward because like you just like put up with this flag and like you had your cross country pictures on the board, and it was you didn't even have your name written down anywhere, and it's just like okay.
Yeah, so essentially what I did was a demo, a fence-making demo, and there are two clear test tubes. It looks like they're water, but it's actually potassium nitrate and lead iodide.
Ooh.
And when you mix the two, instead of getting another clear substance, you actually get like a really neon yellow one.
Yeah, everyone thought it was pee or something.
So it was just funny. I think how I set that up, and that was something that stood out to me kind of at the beginning there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Some other highlight.
Sandwich joke?
That was for the parties involved. We'll keep that one anonymous, but I said a joke regarding a Sandwich and Scott's class that didn't quite maybe land with everybody.
No.
I think there were a few moments. That class in particular was a good one, but some other ones that sometimes I would do at the end of semesters, especially when we were done reviewing, is I would have students just kind of put questions into a hat and I would answer them. And when I was at Kenny, I felt like my young age was a pretty unique position because I feel like I was able to get students to trust me to a decent amount. I just remember getting a lot of questions asking me about my faith, for example, and I was always looking for ways to share stories about my faith. Scott, in particular, especially after his raw retreats, has been someone who I've been able to have some really great chats with.
Yeah.
And so that's something I really appreciated about Kenny. For all of the people that maybe you might not like in high school, there's a lot of really good kids in school. In cross country and track, I've seen some pretty amazing performances, kids who have improved a lot. Give a shout out to Jack Pease in particular.
Oh yeah, we had him.
He was on the podcast earlier this season. Or
last
season.
Yeah, he was just one guy in particular who just really trusted and bought into everything that I said, kind of as a coach. And one of the best moments of his career, he was in the middle of the race at Katie Caples, and he was in like 12th or something. I'd never really been at the front of a race before, but I screamed at him that he had a chance to win, and I honestly meant it. And he, hearing that, honestly believed it, and he didn't win, but he finished third, which was
That's really good.
of his whole life, and so that was a really special moment that he got to share. For those of you who might know Mr. Clark, Mr. Clark came in.
C3PO.
Thomas Clark, the math teacher.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to really look back on my Kenny experience without mentioning Mr. Clark. He's a really, really solid guy. He teaches computer science, so some of you might have him for computer science.
He's so smart. I had the privilege of having you and Mr. Clark back to back through in the years, and it was basically transitioning from one young teacher to the next.
Yeah, Mr. Clark's very smart. He's also a very thoughtful person.
Oh yeah.
And he and I spent a lot of time together. Actually, fun fact about him: he didn't even get his driver's license until September of his first year of teaching at Kenny. And so I actually had to drive him everywhere, like grocery store, cross country meet, to a friend's house, basically everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's definitely someone that I appreciate having talks with. And then lastly, I guess just again, I know these really aren't moments, but just shout outs to a lot of the really special people at Kenny, especially on staff. Mr. Gonzalez Chavez, Mr. Sims, Mr. Allen. They're all my religion bros, and Deacon DeLuca as well. Just always look out for me. Once Deacon DeLuca tried to give me a detention for being out of uniform.
I actually saw that happen because you wore like a white shirt to school and you had like a beard. So then Deacon came over and tried to write you up.
Yeah, so that told me never to wear blue pants with a white shirt again as a teacher.
Yeah, that's not a good move. You're gonna, especially how young you look.
Yeah. All the coaches on cross country. Coach Kerman is a really special person.
Coach.
Gives his life for that team.
I'm going to say it on here. Kevin. You mean Kevin?
Giano and Miss Okaris as well. She's another one of the young teachers and is a runner as well. So there's a lot of really great people at Kenny. And then just the most memorable moment for my 2 years was definitely the cross country retreat at the back in May. That's when I actually told the team that I wasn't going to be coming back, and I don't know if I've ever felt more loved in my life. Just the amount of memories that were shared there was really wonderful. And then to top it off, my birthday was during that retreat, so they sort of baked a cake and sang happy birthday and said goodbye. So many great memories at Kenny, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all we have for this week, Mr. Lewis, and we really appreciate coming on. All those memories going back really hard, and I'm sure all the people listening from BK know it, and then all the people who aren't from BK just
appreciate the insight and advice that you gave into this situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being on. This is a great thing that you're doing with the podcast. So keep putting in all the work. I've really loved listening to you guys. Super entertaining. Your personality definitely shines through in every episode. So keep it up.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. See you, Mr. Lewis.
Okay, thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so that was Mr. Lewis. We really appreciate coming on. It was definitely a work in the progress getting him on.
Just working out our busy schedules, and he has a really busy schedule.
He lives in Chicago, so it's,
the time difference and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's truly an honor to have one of our teachers we had in the past come on the podcast. It's pretty special.
Yeah, and before we jump off, I want to do a quick football recap because there were some important things I think that need to be covered, just how significant it is, and then I'll try to wrap it up. I know this has been a longer episode, but I think
it's packed in with information.
Yeah, time well spent. I think.
Definitely. We
had
a special opportunity.
Oh yeah. So this is obviously a more serious episode, and I think it was a good thing, and we'll come back next week with
normal next week will be a more traditional episode where it's a little bit more funny and more casual. But I really enjoyed having a little bit something a little bit different, which more meaningful for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode as well.
Yeah. So we'll jump right into the football. We'll start with NFL Broad. Antonio Brown left the Raiders.
Went to the
Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be an absolute super power now. We expect Brady. There are two running backs.
Yeah.
And Demaryius Thomas, Antonio Brown, and Julian Edelman. I think will be a very good trio of wide receivers for Tom Brady. I'm very excited because I have Tom Brady on my team. And with fantasy, some big news with fantasy football and kind of NFL is Tyreek Hill, number one wide receiver in the league, prospectively, will be injured till week 9.
Yeah, that's not very good.
No,
he's on your team.
I drafted him first, and it stinks.
But it's good.
Absolutely got destroyed.
I had Antonio Brown on my fantasy team in another league, which is good that he's playing again because he was off for week 1, wasn't he?
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah,
he was off for week 1. He can't play with it until week 2.
Yeah.
So and then
big
lastly,
news for the Jags.
Most importantly,
Nick Foles broke his collarbone, so he's going to be out for the next 8 to 9 weeks.
I went to the game. Nick was going to go to the game, but
busy.
You're busy. I mean, honestly, you didn't really miss much. I mean, our offense played pretty well, but our defense played really bad. Between the heat index, which was 107, one of the hottest games ever.
Yeah.
I was sweating bullets the whole time. We took those fan things.
Yeah.
Those are awesome. And multiple people were like, "Give me a spray, go!" And I was like, "Okay."
They're charging like $1 a spray.
Yeah. And it was pretty rough. And then
what's his name? Miles Jack. Just being a little bit childish, and he punched the other guy. I forget his name. He punched the guy's helmet, and then he got pulled out of the game too. So just not a great game for the Jags, but
yeah. And then we just traded for Josh Dobbs with a 5th round pick. I don't know if that'll be worth it.
Yeah.
I think we should have picked someone else. We'll see. It's a young quarterback, so I think we could have used the 5th rounder more than Josh Dobbs, because Josh Dobbs was okay backup, but Minshew's I think I'm looking forward to how Minshew develops, just because Foles out doesn't mean we're in a bad situation. So
we'll have him for next season hopefully too. Maybe later this season.
Week 12 maybe. That's the prediction. So yeah, that's it for this week. We know it was a long episode. If you tuned in all the way till the end, congrats to you.
Yeah, thanks for
It was
listening.
a long episode.
Yeah, this was I think there's a lot of good information in here. So
Yeah,
hopefully you guys like this one.
I'm really
We'll do
happy
that
with it.
for next week. Next week will probably be a little bit shorter. I don't think we have any guests coming on next week.
No, I think me and Nick are gonna kind of kick it back. Maybe get a small one in just before we go into our week break, and we'll. Once we come back, we'll tell you what, we kind of take the week to push new
the next
developments.
special guests.
Yeah, new developments and special guests and schedule it. So, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks for watching.